Welcome back to TaraChessAcademy. Today we're going to watch a game played by Bobby Fischer.
Hello. Yesterday we prepared a very interesting game to you, and you will see why it's so important to follow main principles of the opening. So let's start. Bobby Fischer played white. He started with e4, and black answered c5. Yeah. So Tara, could you remind us, please, what the opening is? It?
This is called the Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
If they move their pawn to c5.
Yeah, you're right. So next several moves, you will see a typical position for a Sicilian defense. Yeah. And black decided to play g6. It's dragon Sicilian. So you see, we just should follow typical principles of the opening. We have to develop our pieces, control the center. Yeah. So in this position, Fischer decided to develop his bishop to c4. Yeah, probably he has a plan to attack f7. Yeah, so every time when you develop your bishop like this, you have to keep this plan in your mind. So castle, bishop b3. Yeah, probably this move was against typical idea for black with a6 and b5. Yeah, and also bishop just wants to stay on b3 and be protected. In this position, black made not the best move. Knight a5 was played. Of course, the main idea of this move probably is to trade the knight to a bishop. Yeah, but at the same time, black breaks the rules a little bit. So first of all, I'm not sure that it was really a good idea to move this knight for the second time. And at the same time, you can see that black just doesn't control the center. Yeah, so which is also very important in the opening. So let's think what we can do. The knight is not here anymore. It doesn't protect some central squares. So let's think what we can do. Tara, what ideas do you have?
Because the knight goes to the side and it's not protecting the center squares, I would move my pawn to e5.
Yeah, of
Then
course. So we just want to try some attacking moves. So we want to control more center and make this move with tempo and attack the black knight, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can see that in this position there are no good squares for the knight. White protects all of the squares, d5, e4, and g4. At the same time, I'm not sure that knight h5 would be so nice. Yeah. So Tara, can we trap the knight after this move?
You could move the pawn to g4, and the
Mm-hmm.
knight doesn't have any good squares.
Yeah, of course. So let's go back. That's why you see the knight has to get to e8. In some variations of Sicilian defense or some other openings, it's not a big problem when the knight is on e8. But in this position, black got into trouble because all these pieces are blocked at the last rank. So Fischer found a very nice tactics. What ideas do you have, Tara?
At first, you might have ideas about knight e6, because if the pawn on d7 takes, then you get the queen.
And
But
also, it can't move anywhere. c7 and b6 are protected by white pieces.
but the pawn on f7 could take, and then you lose the knight.
Hmm. Yeah, probably without any compensation. Okay.
So first, what you could do is the bishop could capture the pawn on f7.
Yeah, by the way, if you're gonna follow rules about candidate moves and if you're gonna think first about checks or captures, it's gonna save your time and you would find bishop takes f7 much faster. Yeah? Okay, so Tara, let's discuss what happens. So I see several possible moves for black. Rook takes, king takes, or black can try just to ignore this move and play king h8. Maybe first we can discuss what happens after rook takes f7.
Then white could trap the queen if they play the knight to e6.
So the pawn is pinned. Yeah, that's why. Really, I don't see what the queen can do.
Mhm.
Okay, nice. So let's see what happens if king escapes to h8 in this position.
Then you still do the knight to e6.
The same plan, so I don't see how queen could be saved. Okay. And I think the last move that we have to discuss is king takes f7. Interesting. What happens now?
Then you could move the knight to e6.
Really? Again? But the king captures. Yeah? So what happens if the king takes?
Then you have a checkmate plan. If you move the queen to d5. It's not checkmate right away, but in a few moves it'll be checkmate.
Yeah, so the king can get to f6 or f7. The queen is defended by the knight. King f5. Yeah, maybe now people who watch your video can think how to continue this attack, right? So usually when you have an attack, it's nice for you to use some new pieces. Yeah, so the queen takes a part in attack. Yeah, so let's try to use some new pieces. So Tara, do you see any good checks?
And why we do this with checks is we don't let them defend. If you do all with checks, then they can't defend.
That's
What you
true.
could do is if you move the pawn to g4.
So you want to sacrifice the pawn. Okay, I capture it.
The reason you sacrificed is now you can get the rook to g1.
I see. Nice. Yeah, so rook also helps to mate the king. Okay, probably I play king h5.
Then you could move the queen to d1.
Wait a minute, but I want to move it to f3. Would it be better in this position, or it's not as the best plan?
You do have a plan to checkmate, but you have to think if your opponent could do anything. They could capture the queen.
Yeah, so that's why I don't want to lose it, so let's go back. Yeah, and let's follow your plan, because now I really like queen d1 much more. Okay, so I think I still escape king h4.
Then you can make a checkmate in one move if you move the queen to g4.
Yeah, that's true, because the queen is defended by the rook and the king can't move anywhere. Well done.
I think this game teaches if you follow the opening principles, you castle the king and you keep the pieces in the center, then you would have a good position. But if you look at the final position for black, they have their knight on e8, and they have the other knight at the side. So their pieces aren't good.
Yeah, so in this position, yeah, if we go back, you can see that black castled, probably black took care about the king, but just don't forget to have a look at the pieces of your opponent. If you see the bishop on this diagonal, please keep in your mind possible sacrifices on f7. So you also shouldn't forget about this, yeah? And try not to move your pieces twice in the opening without any reason. And usually it's not good for you to have most of your pieces at the last or the first rank.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Bye!